Have you ever wondered how the way we throw away food can actually tell us how much we truly care about the environment? Good morning everyone, my name is Jesse, and today I'm going to be presenting my PDP research titled From Policy to Play. Every one of us contributes to food waste almost every day, and most of us don't even realize that. Through this study, I wanted to understand how much the government's role and regulations can actually change the way people act. So this research is guided by one central question. How do government regulations on food waste affect individual behavior in Singapore and Surabaya? Singapore is a city well known for its strong regulations and enforcement, whereas Surabaya is still developing its waste management systems. By comparing these two cities, I aim to see how regulations and awareness can truly shape the way people behave regarding food waste. Now let's start with a familiar sight. An overflowing waste bin filled with food that could have been eaten. What do we see here? Perfectly good food being thrown away and resources being wasted. So now we know it's not just about the food, it's also the water, the energy, and the effort being put into producing the food itself that is now being thrown into the trash. This image reminds us how easy it is for us to waste when rules aren't clear enough or when people like us just simply don't care. But now let's take a look at this. Clean organized waste bins, each labeled for compost, waste, and recycle. Here, people know where their waste goes, and they follow the rules not just because they have to, but because they truly understand why it matters. But this kind of behavior does not happen overnight. It is a result of clear government systems, consistent education, and community participation. This is the kind of mindset the study wants to explore. What makes people more aware and responsible about food waste? So I designed this study with 4 key objectives. First, to assess public awareness of current food waste regulations. Second, to identify how people actually manage waste daily, especially when they're at home. Third, to examine how government policies influence their actions. Finally, to suggest recommendations for better waste reduction efforts. Together, these objectives help us see how regulations, awareness, and personal behavior connects. I did the research in Surabaya and Singapore to know more about the awareness of the citizens in both cities about the food waste regulations, and I found a clear contrast here. In Singapore, around 71% of respondents stated that they are aware of these regulations, which is a sign of strong communication and enforcement. Whereas in Surabaya, only around 32% of respondents said that they are aware of these regulations, which means in Surabaya their enforcement is much weaker. Now let's focus on the data in Singapore first. In Singapore, not only that people are aware of the food waste regulations, but they also follow them regularly. Many notice government ads, posters, and campaigns, and even recycling facilities around the city, which help reinforce their habits. But even so, some respondents in Singapore still said that regulations could be much stricter, which suggests that awareness alone isn't enough. Without consistent government presence or community education, good intentions may fade over time. While in Surabaya, some people still do waste separation practices and some still do composting. However, the majority admitted that they never see any of these regulations being enforced. Many also said that they never see or never notice anyone getting warned or fined for doing improper waste disposal. Now let's take a look back at both cities' data side by side. And we can see a clear pattern here. Singapore's stronger regulations leads to higher awareness and better enforcement, whereas Surabaya's weaker enforcement leads to a less consistent behavior. So our regulations are important, they only work where people know about them, understand them, and see them being applied. Another question I asked respondents in both cities were if it is often for them to see other people receive fines or warnings for not following food separation rules. In Singapore, around 20 respondents said that they see it a few times, meaning that enforcement exists but isn't always visible. Whereas in Surabaya, responses were much lower, as many said that they rarely or never noticed such things. This reflects a key issue, that awareness can rise, but behavior won't change without consistent follow-up from the authorities. Lastly, I asked the respondents in both cities if they saw a lot of posters or ads from the government to educate about food waste. In Singapore, many agree that these efforts are seen to be common and effective, whereas in Surabaya, many also said that they rarely or never notice such thing again. This proves that education and awareness campaigns are just as crucial as regulations themselves. So to conclude my research, this research highlights that government regulations can truly influence how people manage food waste, but the impact depends on awareness, accessibility, and consistent reinforcement. Having rules is not enough. People need to see them, understand them, and believe that their actions can truly make a difference. As for recommendations for governments and policymakers, they could strengthen public awareness campaigns, reinforce waste infrastructure, and also provide incentives for communities and individuals to join composting programs, which could be a really great motivation for them. As for us, communities and individuals, we could start by building simple yet sustainable habits. For example, by reducing leftovers, practicing food waste separation, and supporting composting programs. These small actions, when done collectively, can lead to a big change. In the end, reducing food waste isn't just the government's job, it is everyone's responsibility. Though reducing food waste starts at home, it could grow further with government action. With awareness, cooperation, and accountability, even small changes in how we treat food can actually make a huge difference.